So my thought today is why why even bother discussing anarcho-capitalism? And this is the idea that the impression that I get from many people that call themselves anarcho-capitalists. We're not going to achieve this in our lifetime or ever, but I consider myself anarcho-capitalist. And it's like, well, what the fuck? I mean, well, what it comes down to is like, why would you be interested in this neat theory? It's a matter of ethics that says my neighbor is not allowed to use force against me or steal from me, and I'm not allowed to use force against or steal from my neighbor. And taking this theory to its logical conclusion that we should have no government. Uh, it's not a hard concept to understand. Not, maybe it's a emotionally hard thing to get over, and I'll definitely say for someone, me, who has studied political science and thought of different things, thought of different ways that the parties could win or fight each other, or how a certain issue could be addressed or accomplished politically, it takes all the wind out of that bag. Like, I've thought of what if I was a politician and I got elected, how I would do the roads, the education, or anything else that comes down the path. And when I discover anarchist arguments, it's like, oh wow, that's all that I don't have to think about. And it's a second cost thing because for all that time that I've thought about this stuff, it's it throws it out the window. It's like, wow, I just wasted so many years of my life thinking about this stuff that like I don't even believe in anymore. And it's hard to let go. I empathize with that, but this belief in anarcho-capitalism is I think that it's important to believe that yes, we can achieve this in some fashion, in some significant matter in our lifetime. Because if not, what's the point? Now, you've got Wes Bertrand, and he asked, a meetup group the question who thinks that they're going to see this anarcho-capitalism in their lifetime, and he was the only one that raised his hand. And that is telling. I think that we have to be more optimistic if this is the case, because it's either we're optimistic in this goal and work to achieve it, or we're pessimistic and that we can't achieve liberty in our lifetime. And if we can't achieve liberty in our lifetime, why even pursue it? Why even like pursue talking about it or thinking about it? If our thoughts influence our actions, and we think anarcho-capitalism, but we also think, nah, never gonna happen, never gonna, it's not worth it, it's never gonna freaking happen, then why even entertain the thought or the notion? Now, I'll admit that I am naive in a lot of a lot of things, a lot of thinking. I think things. I am pretty impressionable in a lot of ways. If I don't know a lot about something, I can fall into intellectual trappings. And maybe it is somewhat that naiveness that I'm making this argument from. But, like, I totally don't get the Stefan Molyneux, why he is so very interested in this anarcho-capitalism if he doesn't believe he will ever be alive to see it. Now, granted, he is older than I am by a good number of years, and he wants his daughter to live in a world that's better off. But if you say, oh, well, I can't achieve it in my lifetime, what makes him think that Isabella's gonna see it in her lifetime. And if you're gonna say, oh, well, not for 50 years, why not make it 60? Why not make it 70 or 100? It's down the line. You can never have anarchy. You can never have a free society if you say, oh, well, in my lifetime, I'm not going to have it. And it's a uphill battle. Don't get me wrong. It's a very, scary concept of if you break a law right in front of the police and stand there and let other people videotape you just to make an example of yourself or to throw a protest or to it's a very scary thing because we're taught to fear authority from a very young age. That is no mistake. It's a scary thing. But we need to step out of our comfort zone in order to achieve it. I think, like me, for example, trying to accomplish this in Michigan, where I have no support group, is going to be like suicide. I'll be in prison 15 years if I try civil disobedience compared to if I move to another place that has more libertarians with cameras. But what I want to accomplish is, yes, and maybe it could be as small as a little town that's like protected. I mean, New Hampshire, or maybe there's another town that people are like, don't tread on me, and people get into touch with each other voluntaristically, and because of that, there's no federal or state government that interferes with them because they are protecting of their own from the United States military, supposing that even lasts in the future. If we can't see it in our lifetime, then why bother? And it's something that irks me. I think there's a lot of pessimism. Like, what? Why bother? Maybe I'm missing something, but if you talk about anarcho-capitalism as this high ideal and this goal to achieve, then why wouldn't you at least believe that it could happen, or that it's possible or likely to happen? Because the naive ones, the unreasonable people, are the ones that the world conforms to, not the reasonable, because reason is a cultural context with which the pragmatists choose to adhere to. It's the people that don't accept convention that do change the world. Edison, look back and say, well, this light bulb's just not possible. No, he, looked at thousands of different filaments, and he never believed in failure. He believed in succeeding and finding 8,000 things that don't fit in the light bulb. And it's that kind of unbridled that optimism that changes things. And everyone that has made changes in history has had this kind of we can do anything if we put our minds to it attitude. I'm just saying, for everyone that talks about voluntarism and anarcho-capitalism, we gotta have that same attitude.